and welcome back to my Union Pacific N-scale Willow Creek subdivision layout. My name is Scott, and going to put together this little video today for you about locomotive depots on the layout there. But before we get into that, just want to say thank you to my subscribers and everyone who's liked and commented on the channel. It's good to see that I'm putting in videos that people like and people want to see more, so it sort of keeps inspiration for me to keep going as well. Definitely like making these videos, and definitely like making everyone I suppose happy watching them, I suppose. But yeah, thank you very much. Also, if you're new to the channel, this is the first time you've seen it, please don't forget to like and subscribe for upcoming videos, which there will be plenty more of to come. But besides that, yes, I said locomotive depots and how my locomotive depots work on my layout. And there's 3 locomotive depots on the layout. Each locomotive depot's got their own sort of little layout system, but they all run off a car card system and a roster system, so it keeps all of the locomotives evenly used. You know, I'm not just using I've got a GP40 just sitting on that back track that hasn't been running about a month. Just make sure everything's evenly used. And also it brings in another sort of aspect of operations. It's not just the freight cars, the rail cars and that have run off a car card and waybill, it's the locomotives as well. So please yeah, stay tuned, stick around, and we'll get into the video and I'll show you how my locomotive depots work. So thank you. Okay, so I guess we'll start off here at Willow Creek here. This is the Willow Creek Locomotive Depot, the biggest depot on the layout. This can hold the most locomotives in this depot. So I'll just start off with, just say we've finished with the locomotive and it's going to be taken and put into the depot. So it'll come in on this track here, this front track. This is the inbound track. And the locomotive will be brought into here, and that's when all the paperwork and everything gets filed away, and the depot foreman will then take over that locomotive and he'll bring it up onto the turntable, and that'll get put into either one of these tracks on the back here. These 2 tracks are the servicing and refueling tracks. So it's just come off service and it's been refueled, and any service or maintenance needs done on them. Once they have been refueled and serviced, they're not going to be required for a little while till we got to wait for the roster to do a complete cycle. So they will again be taken and shifted down to one of these storage tracks. They've got 3 storage tracks off the eastern end of Willow Creek Yard, and they will sit down there until their cycle is due to come up next. Locomotives that have been serviced, fueled, and they've been stored and they're about ready to go back into service, they will come back out and they'll be put onto this track where these 2 locomotives are. This is the outbound track, and this is where, when you come in for an operating session and you need to take a locomotive, it's not just a case of grabbing any locomotive, you actually have to follow the roster system. So it'll be the next one in line, which is that, it's a GP20, it's number 491. And then after that, behind that one there is the GP60, number 2081. These locomotives here will be turned depending on whether they're going to be running west or east. If I'm running westbound, that's to Oakhurst. Oakhurst does not have a turntable, so I generally like to run short freights to Oakhurst, long hood forward first. But it all depends if you're running westbound or eastbound, is in relation to which way these locomotives are facing. The locomotive depots, obviously I've got fueling cranes, just if you can see here, there, obviously the sand tower, and just to the left, just out of focus over here, is the yard office, and also in this storage section over the back is the maintenance away equipment and stuff like that. I will show you, if you're wondering how I figure out how locomotives go in for servicing, fuel, and when they go to storage. I run it off a roster system, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, so this is my roster system I use for the locomotives. This is a very simple car card box system that I've made up, and it basically, when a train comes in, when a car card comes in, or a loco card comes in, it gets put into the last used box over here, and then that sort of like creates like a domino effect for the rest of the cards. They sort of skip. Now, as they had that Santa Fe 804 come in, so what happens is, that was the last one used, that goes to the rear of this pile. The front card goes to the rear of that pile, and that car card goes to the rear of that pile. So the next locomotive I have will be that GP2491. And then that card is taken away, it's put with your train order paperwork and your car cards paperwork and everything, and that'll be used on the next run. Now, just for operation's sakes, let's say the last used was our GP20. It goes into that box, and our next locomotive to be used is 2081. So when I use that one there for the next one, the front goes to there, that one goes to the rear, and that one goes in there. And now I know my next locomotive will be a GP9226. And that is how I do my roster system. That's how every single locomotive gets even amount of time on the layout, and each locomotive gets their proper use. Okay, basically with Willow Creek depot out of the way, we'll move around to Oakhurst. Oakhurst is only a small locomotive depot, basically just a bit of a quick refueling, maybe store a locomotive. Sometimes helper locomotives will be staged here to help locomotives up from Powder River, as Oakhurst sits basically up on the crest of Powder River. So sometimes you'll have helper units sitting here, but majority of the time it's just locomotives between shifts that are refueling and just been stored there. Basically just consists of the 2 tracks. I can hold 3 locomotives in this area, 2 on this one on that track. And basically I run just a little fueling crane, sand tower, just a couple of little bits and pieces. It's not really much, it's nothing really sort of flash. I was thinking about putting a turntable over in this big area over here. Unfortunately though, directly underneath here is a cross member for the layout, so it is what it is at the moment, and it certainly does its job and it does its purpose here. So that is the smallest depot I have on the layout, and that is run exactly the same roster system as the other ones. It's the last one used, service, fuel, storage, then ready, and the locomotive cards just get switched around as they come and go. Okay, and going on from Oakhurst, we are now all the way over here in Mojave, and this is our Mojave locomotive depot. This is the only depot, you probably would have heard me in previous videos, that actually has an engine shed. It's the only thing on the layout where a locomotive can actually go inside an engine shed. This depot is run off the exact same roster system, swapping the cards in and out as the locomotives come in. And that's sort of gone out of focus right there. I'll see if I can, there we go. Yeah, so it runs the same roster system as the locomotives come in and get switched around. Fresh locomotives will come in, locomotives that have just been used will come in, and they'll sit on either one of these 2 tracks, and they will go in, they'll get serviced, maintenance, serviced, anything they need done. Ready locomotives will come out onto the turntable when they'll go onto one of these 3 storage tracks. The this obviously Mojave is the terminus of the Willow Creek sub. This is the, I suppose, the end of the line on the upper deck. So the locomotives are sort of all facing us at the moment, but when they are cooled up, ready next, they'll be spun round on the turntable and exit the yard through behind the engine shed here. That's the only sort of way in and out of Mojave at the back there. But this just out of frame, you'll probably see where my little pointer is. That's the corner of the site office, obviously where all the paperwork and that gets done. But this locomotive depot can actually become quite busy. It's I've had some operating sessions. I've actually spent a fair bit of time just switching locomotives around and to make sure that they're in the right order and ready for the next sort of trip out. But that's in a nutshell pretty much how I run my locomotive depots, how I organise my locomotives, when and where I need locomotives sort of switched around. Also, if I do end up having too many locomotives at one depot, which I have had in the past, if the new locomotive is supposed to be put in, we look for another locomotive. See, I've got two sort of car cards here, and they will return light to their depot. So each locomotive's pretty much got their own home depot. So if this Mojave depot is absolutely full, obviously 762 will return light to Willow Creek to make room at Mojave. The homebound locomotives get priority, and the away locomotives have to run light. So these locomotive cards, they even give us that information where those locomotives are based at and where they need to go to in case the depot is full and chockers. But I'm hoping you sort of probably learned something there on how I did my operations. Maybe you do something similar. Maybe it's you've got an easier way to do it. I run DC. I like DC. I love the smoothness running of it and that. So yes, there is a lot of wiring. All of these tracks are all blocked. I can hold like three or four locomotives just on this track, and I think 3 locomotives on that track. So I've got little blocks in here. I sort of like that. I like the whole, I'm not really into the DCC sort of things, and it keeps it interesting. But yeah, definitely I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you might get some ideas for your own layout, or even drop something in the comments and showing how I can streamline my sort of locomotive depot operations. But yeah, cheers for watching, and next time you see my video and there's a locomotive depot may pop up in the video, yeah, just remember all of those locomotives are rostered. They're all sitting in their designated locations ready for their next shift. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about locomotive depots. And please, if you did like what you saw there, you do like these ideas and that, if you like the video in general, please hit that like button, please subscribe. You come up with some more videos, you'll get notified when I put up more videos. And definitely I love making these videos for you, so go ahead, please like, subscribe, throw any comments into the comment section, anything you want to know. Maybe I might have missed something, I tend to do that a fair bit, but anything you want to know, please drop a comment and I will reply to you. But thank you very much for hanging around, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers everyone, thank you.